Let's tell the truth most men ignore. Women don't always value you when you're available. It's consistent or overly nice. In fact, in today's dating world, that's often the very reason they overlook you. You can give a woman attention, affection, and consistency, and she'll treat it like background noise. But the moment you stop caring, the moment you pull away, the moment you disappear to focus on yourself, something shifts. Suddenly, she starts valuing what she once ignored. Why does this happen? Because women don't respond to logic. They respond to emotion. And nothing triggers deeper emotion than absence, contrast, and a man's detachment from their validation. A woman who wasn't interested before might suddenly show up months later in your DMs, liking your stories, asking how you've been, acting brand new. Why? Because she's seen your shift. She can no longer feel your emotional need for her. That neediness once felt through your energy gone, replaced by quiet strength. That's the version of you she didn't respect, Bear. But now she's drawn to it like a magnet. If you play it right, you won't even need to chase her anymore. She'll chase you. You must understand something. Women don't value presence by default. They value impact. And in most cases, the biggest impact you can make is after you walk away, after you stop treeing, and after you turn your energy word. When she realizes she no longer has access to you, when she watches their women notice what she dismissed, when she sees you moving on, that's when you become valuable. Now, let's break down exactly why this happens and how you. As a man can take back control without saying a single word, you stop seeking her ROVL1. You stop seeking her approval when a man constantly seeks a woman's approval. She can feel it, even when he sees nothing. It shows in his actions, his timing, the way he texts, the way he waits on her responses, and even in how much space he allows her to take up in his mind. In the beginning, she'll may tolerate it, maybe even enjoy the attention, but deep down, she does introspect. Women aren't wired to value what's constantly seeking them, so they value what stands on its own. Now here's where the shift happens. The moment you stop needing her approval, she starts questioning what changed. That change disturbs her ego. She was used to being chased. She was used to being the one in control. But now you're not calling like before. You're net texting to check in. You're not available on command. You're not giving her the same emotional priority. You'll took your power back, not by being rude, but by redirecting your focus. This Iswan, her perception of you begins to evolve. What she once saw as too nice or too available suddenly becomes mysterious and confident. Why? Because a confidence is built. When your self-worth no longer depends on her validation, you'll no longer revolve around her attention, and that's rare in today's world. It's important to note this doesn't mean playing games or acting cold. It means you genuinely no longer care, a booty pressing her. You're no longer adjusting your behavior just to stay in her good graces. You're not putting hair on a pedestal. You're living your life. Your energy has shifted. And that's what women feel the most, the shift. A woman knows when she's the center of your world. She also knows when she no longer holds that position. The irony is the more you stop trying to win her, the more intrigued she becomes. Starts to wonder if she misjudged you. She questions if maybe you were more valuable than she gave you credit for. And just like that, the seed of attraction starts growing. All because you stopped chasing and started choosing yourself. There's power in your silence. There's magnetism in your absence. And there's something deeply attractive to a woman about a man. Who doesn't care if she approves of him or not? That's what makes her look again. That's what makes her reconsidered. And in many cases, that's exactly what makes her start valuing you after she already passed. She saw other women want you too. She saw other women want you. Own off, the most powerful shifts in a woman's mind happens when she realizes she's nothing. Only one looking at you anymore. A woman might have overlooked you when she thought she had all your attention. Beauty of everything changes the moment she sees third women giving you that same energy, or even more. This taps into something primal, something emotionally that logic can't fight. It's not about jealousy in the petty sense. It's about social proof. If other women want you, she starts wondering what she missed. In Themadorn dating world, value is often defined by perception. A man's true worth is not just measured by his money or looks, but by how women respond to him. When a woman sees that, you are deserted by others, especially attractive men or high-value women, it triggers her competitive instinct. Women may not always admit this, but they are wired to desire what is validated by other women. It's part of how attraction works. It's not just about how you look, it's abutho, you're perceived. Here's the thing. You didn't have to flaunt anything. You didn't post women all over your social media. You didn't brag about who wants you. You just started living, connecting, moving. With confidence, and women naturally gravitated to you. Maybe they laughed at your jokes. Maybe they texted you first. Maybe you were seen in public with Simone, beautiful. Whatever it was, it flipped a switch in the woman who on set has missed you. She began to doubt her initial judgment. She started thinking, if other women see value in him, did I miss something? This creates curiosity. Curiosity creates tension. And tension creates attraction now. The same woman who once brushed you is checking your social media, watching your stories, trying to figure out who these other women are. Suddenly, she's asking mutual friends about you. She may even test the waters again by reaching out casually. A long time, it's subtle, but it's deliberate. She's trying to regain access. She doesn't want to admit it. But the sight of another woman wanting you activates something deeper. Fear of missing out and fear of replacement. This is why you never chase. Because when you chase, you tell her no one else wants you. But when you're chosen by others, she realized she had something in her hands and she'll let it slip. And now she has to compete. That's when she starts valuing you. Mon becomes 10 times more attractive and he's not begging for attention. Beauty instead is quietly being desired by it. You didn't have to say anything. You didn't have to prove a point. You just had to level up, stay present, and let the world, including her, see that you're wanted. That alone is enough to change how she sees you forever. You shifted your energy. LSIWHRA3. You shifted your energy elsewhere. One of the most underrated moves a man can make when a woman is interested is simply this. Shift your energy. Stop trying to convince her. Stop waiting for her to come around. Stop analyzing every message or lack of response. Just take all that energy you wear, giving her, and invest it somewhere else into your goals, your appearance, your mental discipline, your work, your life. Not as a tactic, not to get a reaction, but because you realize your energy is currency. And when you give it too much of it to someone who doesn't reciprocate, you're running at a loss. Here's the beauty of this shift. Women can feel it even from a distance. She may not have replied to your texts, may have even ghosted you, but when you stop orbiting around her and start radiating in another direction, she feels thessalence. That silence is louder than any message. Your emotional withdrawal sends a very clear message. I'm done investing where I'm not appreciated. And that's when things change. At first, she won't say anything. She'll observe. She'll scroll through your updates, notice the difference in your demeanor, your confidence, your presence. You're not bitter. You're not trying to win her. You're not trying to get noticed. You're just different. You're focused. You've grown past the point of needing her to validate your worth. That energy used to feel directed toward her, it's gone. And that's exactly why she starts missing it. Women are deeply intuitive when it comes to attention. They can sense when it's genuine, when it's desperate, and when it's absent. When you pull your energy back and dry invest it in your own mission, it forces her to reflect. She starts asking herself questions she never asked Keed for. Why doesn't he look at me, Thesum? Why do I feel like he's slipping away? Was I wrong about him? And just like that, what was once taken for granted becomes rare. Men often forget. Attention is power. When it's directed at someone who doesn't deserve it, it loses value. But when it's pulled back and redirected into building yourself, you become more magnetic. That's when women start taking notice. Not just the one who ignored you, but others too. The confidence, the purpose, the discipline you begin to develop makes you a completely different man. And now she doesn't just miss your attention, she starts chasing it. Shifting your energy elsewhere. You do something most men never do. You show her that her presence isn't required for her. You two thrive. You don't say it, you show it. It's real power. It's when you go from the guy who was once chasing toe, the man she's now watching. It's admiring and maybe even regretting letting go. She got bored of the men who chased her for. She got bored of the men who chased her. There's a cycle women go through when it comes to attention from men. In the beginning, they enjoy it. The compliments, the good morning texts, the constant validation, it feeds the ego. But over time, that attention becomes noise. Most of the men giving it, they all start to look the same. Predictable, eager, always available, always trying to impress. And what happens to things that are predictable and always available? People get bored. Women especially get bored. She may not even realize it at first. She might entertain the attention, smile at the compliments, reply with emojis, just to keep the attention flowing. But behind the scenes, she starts to feel it. That emotion, that line. Nothing sparks her curiosity. No mystery, no challenge. Just more guys hoeing up to do what every other guy does chase. And then something interesting happens. She remembers you, not because you were just like the others, but because you stopped buying any of them. Were there once, yes, but you exited the crowd. You didn't keep dancing for her attention like the others. You fell back. You disappeared, and in a world full of men trying to toper off something to her, your silence stands out. Your absence feels unfamiliar. And that unfamiliarity grabs your attention more than any compliment ever could. What most men don't understand is that the more you chase, the more you become forgettable. You become just another voice in the noise. But when you pull back, when you stop, showing up like clockwork, when you try to win her with effort shouldn't ask for, you leave a void. And when all the men she chose over Yofeld to give her that spark she's looking for, her mind starts to circle back. She compares, she reflects. And she realizes something uncomfortable. All these men chasing her didn't make her feel anything real. They were just options. But the one who walked away, the one who didn't beg, the one who moved on quietly, that man left a mark. He didn't just try to entertain her. Hamader feels something different, a loss. And that loss becomes valuable Beckos. It wasn't filled by the next Guyan line. Here's the truth.
Ow.
The guy's shekos after you gave her what shethod she wanted. Attention. But they didn't give her what she truly needed. Tension, depth, challenge, and presence. So when she gets tired of being admired but not moved, she begins to crave Watu represented. She might not say it out loud, but her actions will. She'll come. Back with softness, with curiosity, maybe even with a little guilt. By doing this, you did more. You didn't try to compete with the crowd. You let them burn themselves out while you built yourself up. And now, after the excitement has died down, after the flattery has worn off, she realizes the man she ignored was the only one wokeally stood out. You showed growth without HR5. You showed growth without her. Onif, the biggest shifts in how a woman views you happens when she sees that you've grown. It's not because of her, but without her. At first, when she was uninterested, she may have believed you'd stay the same. Maybe she saw you as predictable, emotionally available on demand, or lacking a certain edge. In her mind, you are stuck in one version of yourself. But here's the reality. When a man stops chasing and starts evolving, everything changes. Not just this appearance or income, but his synergy, his presence, his aura, and that's what shakes her. See? Most men going to emotional decline after a woman loses interest. They spiral, they lose confidence. They chase harder, shrink smaller, and try to prove their worth off attention. That only confirms to the woman that she made the right choice by losing interest. But the man who walks away and levels up, that man, confuse her. She expected him to stay where shell fit him. But now he's different. Heckeries himself with more confidence. Hecker's purpose in his steps, his time is guarded. His lifestyle is growing. And maybe, just maybe, he's even harder. That's when her perception shifts from disinterest to regret. Growth. Without her means, you didn't need her to become your best self. You didn't want for her to recognize your value. You became valuable through action. Maybe you started hitting the gym Andy hour. Physique changed. Maybe your income increased. Your style improved. Your network expanded. Or maybe your mind became stronger, calmer, more focused. Whatever it was, it became visible. When women notice growth more than they admit, they might scroll through your feedos, hear about you through friends, run into you unexpectedly, and in that moment they realize you're not who you were when they overlooked you. And it hurts their ego. Why? Because deep down, every woman wants to believe she was special enough to unlock your greatness. But you didn't need her, you did it on your own. And that creates a different kind of respect. The kin that turns passive. Indifference, intuitive curiosity. Now she wants to know more about you. She wants to understand what you've become. She starts questioning her past decision. Did I give up too early? Is he the one that got away? How did he evolve like this? Here's the most important part. You didn't grow to get her back. You grew echoes. That's what real men do. You faced rejection. Used it as fuel and built yourself up, not out of revenge, but out of self-respect. That's the part that leaves a lasting impression. It's the part that makes you unforgettable. A woman may not value you when you're standing still, but once you start moving upward, forward, and without her, she'll start chasing what she'll unsingered. Because true growth makes you undeniable. And once you become eniable, even the woman who left you behind can't help but look back. Scarcity hit her me onto 6. Scarcity hit her mind. It's armament in every woman's mind when the man she once ignored starts to feel like us, slipping away for good. Not just out of her phone, not just off her radar, but out of her life. That's when scarcity hits her. That's when reality sinks in. And when a woman starts to feel that emotional scarcity, that she no longer has access to your time, your attention, or your energy, everything hinges. You have to understand how thief male brain works when it comes to value. What you gave her. It's about how hard it is. Togging it again. If you were always available, always reaching out, always emotionally present, she never had torn it. It was easy. What komasisi, it gets taken for granted. But the second that energy disappears, the second she starts noticing that your name, it doesn't pop up anymore, that your messages have stopped, that your cow soar silent, she's forced to confront Thelis. Scarcity is powerful. It creates urgency. It makes a woman second G's her decisions. She starts to wonder if another woman is getting the version of you she once ignored. She questions whether she misread your potential. She reflects on how she used to have access to you but doesn't anymore. And the fear of missing out becomes real, not in a playful, goosting way, but in a deeper emotional sense. When a man pulls back completely, and that space he occupied remains empty, the woman is left alone with her thoughts. No more notifications, no more emojis, no more good morning texts or subtle check-ins. It's just silence, and the silence is loud. That's what wakes her up. She realizes that attention wasn't just attention, it was care. It was care. It was emotional presence. And now it's gone. This is why timing matters. You didn't force her to miss you. You didn't guilt trip her. You didn't try to convince her off your worth. You just removed yourself. You became scarce, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. And that scarcity became your most powerful move. Most men don't understand that women rarely miss you while you're still around. They miss you after they believe they can't have you anymore. After Theodore starts to close, after they realize you no longer need them, want them, or think about them the same way. That's one of the value of what you once gave her finally hits. Now, she looks at your old messages differently. She replays old conversations in her mind. She starts liking your pictures again, hoping you'll notice. Maybe she sends that classic "Hey, stranger" text. Not because she has something to say, but because she wants to test if the door is still open. But what she's really reacting to is scarcity. She thought you'd always be there, and now you're in it. That's when she starts valuing you. Not because you did something different, but because you did less. You walked away. You stayed gone. And that made a lot of difference. You became emotionally UNAVA, LABL, evil. You became emotional univail. Emotional unavailability is not about being cold or heartless. It's about Beckamini. Selective with who gets accesto, your feelings, your energy, and your earner world. And when you shift from being open and emotionally invested in a woman who didn't value you to Beckominge emotionally unavailable, not as a tactic, but as a truth, it sends a message that hits her deeper than any words ever could. It tells her you had her chance. See, in the beginning, you were open. You were willing. You wanted something real. You showed interest. You gave her consistency. You offered space for something meaningful to grow. And what did she do? She treated it like it was always going to be there. She didn't take it seriously. She responded when she felt like it. She expected you to wait. For a while, maybe you did. But something changed. You saw the lack of respect. You felt the emotional imbalance. And instead of continuing to pour yourself into a one-sided connection, you pulled back and didn't return. You became emotional unival, not out of revenge, but out of wisdom. You understood your worth. You realized your emotions are valuable, shouldn't be wasted on someone who didn't protect them. This is where Thetables turn. The woman who once had full access now finds herself locked out. She tries to re-engage you. With old tactics, she flirts. She laughs at your jokes again. She sends those just thinking about you texts. But now you're detached. You respond differently. You're harder to read. Your energy isn't terminally accessible anymore. You represent, but you're not vulnerable, Euliston. But you don't reveal. You're calm but not invested. And that drives her crazy. But guess what, maid? Her feel in control before your emotional availability is now gone. And what do Aseto be predictable? Your reactions, your presence, your interest has now become uncertain. You've become a mystery. And women chase mystery harder than they chase attention. This kind of emotional distance forces her to look inward, asking herself, why doesn't Hay open up to me anymore? Why do I feel like I lost something valuable? Why do I suddenly care so much? And the answer stares her in the face, because now you'd need her emotionally. And that makes you powerful. Emotionally available after rejection. Ordis respect is not weakness. It's protection. It shows you've evolved past. Need to be chosen by someone who's made you feel small. You've built emotional boundaries, and women can feel that. The same. A woman who once ignored her feelings now desperately wants to feel them again. But now you're guarded. You're focused. You're grounded. You're no longer playing emotional games. You're emotionally reserved for someone who deserves it. And that's the moment she starts valuing you because she knows she no longer has access to the part of you that once chased her. CONCCON, the truth is simple. Women often don't value you when you're too available, too aboger, or too emotional. But the moment you pull back, grow, and become emotionally distant, something shifts. Your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. She starts to feel weight of your silence, the strength in your distance, and the power of your evolution. You didn't force her to value AO. You simply became the kind of man who no longer needs to be chosen to feel complete. And that right there is when she finally sees your worth. Now she'll chase us.